Well, I've got the statement from the two pilots about going into that D.C. airspace.
You know what? That instructor was on one of the Good Morning America. One of those, unless it was today.
Did you read this?
No, I haven't even seen it.
We agree that Jim, as the pilot in command, would supervise the flight while Troy would fly the airplane, which he did during the entire flight. And next, to be more careful, wishing to avoid the restricted area of Camp David during our flight. We overcompensated by taking a more anticipated southerly route, which caused us to infringe upon the D.C. restricted zones. After an undetermined amount of time, a Black Hawk helicopter appeared off to the right side of our airplane and attempted to communicate with us using a handheld sign indicating the emergency radio frequency we were to receive instructions. Although our radio had been working during the flight, we were unable to communicate with the Black Hawk helicopter on the frequency indicated. A crew member used hand signals to indicate a second frequency. We turned to that one, identified our aircraft, and requested further instruction. We received no response in either of the indicated frequency, despite repeated attempts by both of us. Helicopter disappeared off to the right within a short time. Two F-16 fireplanes began making repeated passes. After making several passes, the F-16 planes dropped warning flares. We made a 90-degree turn to the right to a westerly direction. At this point, for the first time, we were able to visually identify our location as being in a flight-restricted zone.
Oh, my God.
Once again, a helicopter appeared, whereupon we were able to establish two-way radio communication on our original frequency.
Now, why were they able to do that, but not on the other?
Good question.
Oh, that was just screw-ups. That's just being dopes. Probably the radio set wrong.
They then thank everyone for helping them.
Oh,
and then they have a story underneath about their license, this guy's license being revoked.
Mm-hmm.
Boy,
the flight instructor.
They show all the violations, too. There's 7 violations.
Oh, man.
Wow.
What are they? Let me see.
Yeah, boy. FAR 61.57A.
Uh-oh. Part 91, Part 61.
That's good.
Oh, God. They're throwing the book at him.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Acting as pilot in command of an aircraft carrying a passenger without having made at least 3 takeoffs and 3 landings within the preceding 90 days. Man, they're going for everything. As pilot in command failed to familiarize himself with all available information concerning the flight. You know, like the pre-flight planning and what airspace you're going through and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Operating an aircraft in a careless or reckless manner so as to endanger the life or property of another. Oh, God, yikes. Operation of an aircraft within Class B airspace without receiving an ATC clearance. Ooh, that's huge. Oh, that is nasty. Entering a prohibited area without having the permission of the using or controlling agency. Operating an aircraft in the ADIZ, Air Defense Ident Zone, without complying with special security instructions. Oh, man. Ouch.
Yeah, I'm looking at my copy, too. They really did throw the book at
Oh, they got them for everything. Boy, they even threw the 3 takeoff and landings in the last 90 days at them. Man, they're really...
How come no comment on the CNN story last night about the woman who didn't know how to pilot a plane but landed it safely?
Well, I didn't know about it. Now I'll comment on it.
Unfortunately, both her parents who were in the plane with her had passed out. Her father was the pilot, were pronounced dead upon landing because each had suffered a stroke. What?
Wow. I didn't hear that.
Both people had strokes in the plane?
At the same time?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Boy. Now that's proof that people can be so in love with one another that they die of a broken heart. Oh, my God, my husband's dead of a stroke.
I want to be a pilot.
That's how is that possible?
I don't know.
To die simultaneously.
Weird. Apparently, almost anyone can be a pilot as long as they're not dead.
No. I'm sure she took training, which you can get.
All we need is a pilot.
No, it was one of those things where
somebody who flies a lot with somebody who's a pilot, they can take a little course that teaches them how to land the plane. Kind
of like somebody watches somebody drive.
It's a smart thing to do. Yeah.
Kind of like when I watched my dad drive.
I'm sure she had that training. It's probably a little 10-hour course, you know.
There's another story here.
There's something to it. I'm sure it wasn't out of the blue. Impossible. Otherwise, she would have died on impact.
Now that I think about it, when Mike and I were up in the plane, I said, I wouldn't mind flying this little bit. He said, next time we go up, I'll let you fly a little bit.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yeah.
He'd let me fly.
And plus I said the next time we're going up, I told you you're going to fly.
Let me do the takeoff and the landing, and Mike will fly when we're up there. Hey, did you hear anything about Hillary Clinton getting a pilot's license?
Oh,
that's not possible, is it?
Oh, God. I hope not.
Somebody.
I hope not.
I don't know if it's true
I'm just not going to believe that. I couldn't handle that.
All right, let's get to Trudy. We got to get moving here. It's 10:13 at WRIF, and you want to grab Trudy? We'll go before the commercials.
Oh, if that's true, I'm gonna flip out.
I felt ill myself.
Oh no.
Hey, don't forget tomorrow. We are going to be having another piece of playoff trivia for you. If you can answer it, you will be potentially on your way to Miami, to South Beach, to see Game 5, the Pistons and the Heat. And don't say, I might not win anything because what if they sweep? No. You will, as a qualifier, get tickets for either Game 3 or Game 4 at the Palace. So you're going to one game at least here locally. And then if you win our drawing, and assuming the Pistons don't sweep, you're on your way to Miami, to South Beach for Game 5 next Thursday night. The AP reports that New York Junior Senator Hillary Clinton narrowly escaped injury in the aircraft she was piloting when she was forced to make an emergency landing in southern Jersey because of bad weather. That's fake.
Yeah,
that's fake.
There's the joke. It didn't come across in the email. That's
okay. Yeah, it's a witch's broom. Yeah, the first
pretty
one,
good.
There was no picture accompanying the story. So
another story about the stroke and the lady.
Yeah.
I think that was that NBC story about the air traffic controller that guided her down and taught her how to fly the plane.
Yeah,
she was in it.
Yeah, the air traffic controller.
Yeah, so she had no experience.
Look, they taught her down. But, of course, she watched the pilot a million times, just like we found out with the other.
Did.
Oh, right, Mark. It eventually it comes out. It's just like the other one where they supposedly landed out of the blue and come to find out the guy had a glider pilot's license, and he'd watched the guy fly for countless hours.
It was the first time she's ever even seen a plane.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
She didn't even know what a plane was until she got on.
I'm sure. Yeah.
She didn't even know you could fly.
Trudy's brought to you by...
You're right, Mark.
William Mays. If you've been charged with DUI, DWI, or OWI, hire attorneys specializing in drunk driving defense. Call the Mays Legal Group at 888-OWI-ATTY. That's 888-OWI-ATTY.
While you're talking about pilots, Jim Sheaffer was on the Today Show. Did you watch him by any chance?
No, I want to see that.
At 69, still piloting a small plane. You know, that's how his bio would go if they were doing it from this point of view of being very proud of him, but unfortunately nobody is. And here he is on the Today Show with his lawyer. He's the farmer from PA, discombobulated after his flight plan caused him to blunder into restricted airspace. At the White House, he argues that there was something wrong with the Black Hawk that intercepted him. The chopper was unable to get a sufficient message to
When
him.
I first saw the helicopter, I knew that we were someplace that we weren't supposed to be, and they held up a sign indicating to the frequency that we should tune to communicate with them.
So they're telling you, go to this radio frequency, talk to us. What happened when you tried to tune to that frequency?
When we tuned to that frequency, we could not communicate with them.
He probably had his radio set wrong.
Yeah, no, he just can't figure it out.
Yeah,
He's
really.
all over the place trying to find out.
Yeah, he's probably transmitting on one, listening on another, and every other damn thing.
And then they fired the flares, and he thought he was being shot at.
And this argument is going to win him his license back?
What an ass.
What he thinks. The FAA accuses Sheaffer of a multitude of flight faux pas. So he had not kept his flying certificate current. He did not check the weather. He he filed a flight plan, but it was directly through restricted airspace.
Isn't that incredible? As an instructor.
As well as not notifying other airmen of his path, and didn't show the proper techniques in navigation for a safe flight, according to the FAA.
Boy, that's no kidding.
There are some who say that they're making a scapegoat out of him.
Because...
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
Because he caused all the commotion and caused... all those people to run outside and run for the fences and reveal.
I think there's just so many violations here that this guy is just simply unsafe. Period.
He also claims that he wasn't at the controls. Now, how many times has it been back and forth that he was flying, that he wasn't flying, that he isn't flying, that he isn't flying, he's an instructor, he's not an instructor. They say it's not true that he's an instructor.
He said he's not an instructor?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
If he had to do it over again, he says he would have taken over the controls and flown north out of the space they were in. Guys, in space, all right.
I don't get it. What's the truth, then?
I don't know. I think maybe he figures if he's confusing on purpose, it will just obscure any sort of point.
I thought that one kid was a student pilot. He was an instructor.
Well, that was always the way we've heard
Did he say on Good Morning America that he was not an instructor? On the Today Show.